So it's an interesting time to be sitting here and being interviewed about Chris since I've just come back from the large American head and neck cancer meeting. A very strong sense at that meeting from a number of different quarters as to just how important Chris O'Brien was on the world stage. Chris was one of the foundation members of the Australian and New Zealand Head and Neck Society. So, he'd spent his time in the States, he'd seen what they could do with the American Head and Neck Society, and he said, we need that here in Australia, which really brings us, I think, to Lifehouse and what are we trying to do? We are unashamedly trying to give the best head and neck cancer care that we can. Head and neck cancer care delivered with a hope-filled message, but of a very high standard, and a standard which doesn't accept today as okay, but always wants tomorrow to be better. And generously means through an approach to patient care which is really based on service, and Chris was able to do that service side of thing in spades. Chris, I think, was a doctor's doctor. He was strong in the medical and biological sciences that underpin what we do, but he had a really unique capacity to apply those to the patients that were lucky enough to be referred to him for care. Chris was as comfortable in conversation with the Prince of Wales as he was in talking with the most knockabout of any of his patients. Chris referred a guy to me called Dougie, and Dougie was 72. He'd been a player and a player. He was a rock and roll musician, long silver plat. Dougie had asked Chris, how did I get this cancer? At the time, Chris was very influential in an area of research that actually led us to understand that a significant proportion of tonsil cancer patients have a disease which is actually caused by a virus. It's a sexually transmitted disease, and when Dougie came to see me, he was wearing his diagnosis of tonsil cancer as a sexually transmitted disease with great pride. Very proud of the fact that he got his disease in a rock and roll kind of way. And Chris found that little connection with this guy, and I think it was something that came completely from within him.